My name is Vesna Godina. I'm professor of anthropology at the Department of Ethnology and Anthropology of the University of Belgrade, Serbia. The possible ways of developing this whole project, let's say, or thinking about the non-university education. One is to do nothing, right? I mean, within the global organizations, let's say, and just let things go on spontaneously in each country as they, as the members of associations or faculty members or other anthropologists think they of appropriate ways to develop it or not. So this is one possibility, of course. The other possibility is to try to introduce anthropology as a subject, or ethnology. Sometimes it's in some areas of the world, it's called ethnology. To introduce it as a subject in, let's say, secondary schools. First of all, maybe as a language, as a optional course, and then maybe slowly as a mandatory course. This is another possibility. The third possibility is that the anthropologists, educated anthropologists, be able to teach geography or history courses, right? And basically bring in the anthropological content into these courses. Because in many places nowadays, as you probably know, it is possible that within the mandatory curriculum of each course in high school, the teacher, him or herself, can bring in some other content which can be recommended by the ministry or the school, or to be of his or her own choice, right? And also there are even textbooks which are nowadays published, which are kind of for these alternative or extra courses. For example, in Serbia, my colleagues have produced textbooks for the first 4 years of elementary school, which can be used by teachers to bring in some content. And there are even some exercise books where children draw things, or they're being acquainted with traditional ways of everyday life, or I don't know, preparing food or spending free time in the village and the city environments. So this is also a possibility, and this is much better, of course, than to just produce some kind of textbooks or learning materials and have them being used by non-anthropology graduates, right? So that would be a case of, for example, a person who graduated history, taking the textbooks produced, let's say, if possible, by ethnologists or anthropologists, and using them in class, or in history class, because they don't really understand then what anthropology and what this material is. I think you really have to be educated in anthropology, at least in undergraduate or master's level, in order to understand what the questions are that we ask, and what are the aspects of the culture and the way of life that we want to pay attention to. The fourth possibility would be to experiment, to, let's say, find schools which would be able, or which would be wishing to implement some educational program or part of the curricula, which would be, for example, coordinated by people from the nearby university, from the anthropology department, and which they would let the anthropologists come in and maybe hold some classes or workshops or something like that. Now, there comes again this Petnica Science Center, which I would like to tell something about, as far as I know, unique alternative institution. It actually exists since 1982 in Serbia. It was founded in a village near the town of Valjevo, where a group of teachers, secondary school teachers, dissatisfied with the way science was taught in secondary schools, were organized themselves And they founded this institution and started organizing research educational courses. So it looks like this. And this is in all sciences. This is in natural sciences, in technical sciences, in social and humanities. So nowadays they have 15 programs. How it goes is that it's an annual cycle, annual program that consists of 4 parts, 4, let's say, seasonal parts. So in the winter, usually sometimes around January, February, the first group of secondary school students is recruited. They're highly motivated and recommended by their high schools. So they have to apply. They come from all of Serbia, nowadays even from all of former Yugoslavia. And they apply. The committee chooses the ones which they think are most motivated and best students, best candidates. And this usually group starts maybe with 30 students. They come for a week, and professors from the university usually, or from the Ethnographic Research Institute, they come to hold lectures and to show what actually anthropology is, what themes we deal with. Students listen. Then sometimes, you know, students attending other courses, like other programs like math or science, they also come in, so they learn about what's going on. This is nice that they mix. And then after this a week, basically students who become interested enough, they decide to come again, and they kind of start thinking about their own little research project. So then, 2 months later, in late spring, let's say, February, March, they come again for about 4 days for the methodology course. So they learn about the basic methodology principles in anthropology, and they try to start thinking how they can apply it to their research theme. Now, the research theme can be a variety of topics. They can do research in their own home places, right in the field. They can leave it to do it in the Petnica village, where this research center is located, or the nearby town of Valjevo. Or they can do, you know, they can do something on literature, from the literature, or newspaper analysis, or films, or whatever. It also depends on the coordinator, or the main coordinator, who determines the variety of themes, and maybe one main theme. Then they come again in the summer for another 2 weeks. This is called kind of a summer camp, where they develop these topics. Then they're every day in contact with coordinators. They go into the library. Petnica has a huge library. Also, what is interesting, the principle that the undergraduate students in anthropology come also, like maybe 4, 5, or 6 of them. They're also specially chosen. They also come to participate as instructors. So basically, you have the full-grown, let's say, anthropologists from the department who are the coordinators, usually 1 or 2. Then you have these undergraduate students who also help, and then you have these secondary students who are actually participating as researchers. Then they are supposed to, after the summer camp, this is where they're supposed to kind of draft also their papers, and they finish writing them there or when they come back home, and then they present them at a conference. Petnica organizes a conference for them where the papers are presented, and the best papers, which are also reviewed, get published in the Petnica notebooks, the journal. And then in the end, in the 4th session, which is in the fall, sometimes in September or October, they again have a 4, let's say, day session where things are summarized, or a new topic is presented to kind of capture the attention of these students for the next year. Together with my colleague, Slobodan Nomovic from the department, we actually we initiated and organized this first course in sociocultural anthropology. Earlier on, it was interesting, they didn't have it, of course, and there was only the most related courses were, I think, history, but archaeology also. So actually the idea to invite us and to set up sociocultural anthropology was by this young colleague, an archaeologist, who actually was interested in the theory of anthropology, and he wanted to bring anthropology there. This is also interesting for the Serbian context, because we don't have this four-field method principle, like in the U.S., of having together within anthropology, cultural anthropology, archaeology, sociolinguistics, and sociolinguistics and what's physical anthropology. We don't have such a system. Over there in Serbia, and this is usually the European tradition, they're all separate disciplines. But I guess this archaeologist was influenced by the, maybe by the US probably approach and actually to the theory of anthropology, which is so useful for his field. And that's how we were invited. And ever since we started this course, but then the younger colleagues continued, and every few years there is a new coordinator. And this whole center has developed even physically, structurally, because it used to be very simple, a complex with dormitories, with one dining room, administrative building, and one building with classrooms and some labs. But now it has been extended, and it's very much bigger, very much more nicely, let's say, and more functionally organized, and so on. First of all, just to say that ethnology and anthropology is represented in our school system, educational system, on the level of universities, only at the University of Belgrade, which is the major public university in Serbia. It has its let's say, charters in other Serbian cities, but it's the largest in Belgrade, which is the capital of Serbia. And our department is called the Department of Ethnology and Anthropology. It's quite large, actually. We have 16 senior faculty and about 9 junior faculty part-time. We accept about 55 students per year in the first year. There is no other ethnology and anthropology department in the country. Now, at the secondary school level, we don't have anthropologists employed as teachers, except in the ballet schools, ballet schools and music schools of the secondary level. This is where they teach either ethnology, basic ethnology, and ethnomusicology. This is it. We would also like to do something about it, and we hope that within the WCAA, the new project, the main project, that is announced as the project to deal with non-university education, will kind of stir the ideas and invite new ideas and stir the new initiatives to try to do something about it. What we were thinking of is that, my colleagues and I were thinking about it at the department, that maybe it wouldn't be the best idea to try to push for anthropology or ethnology itself, because people don't know about it, and the people in the ministry don't know about it really, what it does, why it's useful, and so on. But that we try maybe with some optional courses of two types. One that could be called something like traditional cultural heritage, because our science is still recognized in Serbia as the one dealing with traditions. Mm-hmm. And then it wouldn't be maybe so hard to introduce it as within an optional course that deals with cultural heritage. And the second, maybe optional course could be something like the cultures of the world, where they would learn about cultures from all over, religious systems, these things that are most cuisines, whatever, languages, language groups. Even it would be interesting maybe to introduce some things that the young people would be interested in, like sports around the world, or traditional sports around the world, or whatever, new trends, new cultural trends, and so on. So we are thinking in those terms, but we will see how this whole initiative, global initiative, will develop within WCA and the WOW as a whole, as well as how it can develop in our country itself and different countries.